9 o'clock is when they recommend you get out here with your soccer chairs lined up along this long parade route. It's pretty vacant with people set up so far, but trust me, they are coming and walking as fast as they can to get their seat to see all the military representation in southern Colorado.
This first five, Jessica Roe digging deeper. She's live tonight. Jessica?
Good evening. Rob, this gentleman says that when he faces a judge on December 15th on charges of improper accumulation of storage materials, he will have his property cleaned up.
This is a pretty new facility. It is 40,000 square feet with a 9,000 square foot freezer to put things like turkeys in for the holidays. Given the change in weather patterns, lawn care experts say now is the time to get outside and make a difference while you can. And for all those blood screenings that do cost a little bit of money, very low cost, you would want to fast and skip that breakfast before you come on out here, but there's plenty of food afterwards.
Well, most importantly, you'll want to fast for the blood chemistry screening.
A lot of good coming out of this, and I'm sure the small businesses right here in Old Colorado City are really going to appreciate you shopping here today. If this death is ruled a homicide, it would be the 18th in Colorado Springs this year. This is, after all, what put Manitou Springs on the map. I just heard you talking about costumes. We are going to tell you why this is one haunted house you might not want to wear a costume to, coming up.
She put on a costume, not yet, huh, Jessica?
Not yet. I have to say the last time I wore a costume, I think it involved a poodle skirt, so it's been quite a while. The hot firefighter, did you just hear me say that in the tween costumes? Flameless candles in a tall pumpkin like this one. This works perfect. You would not believe how bright these are on our porch.
Tonight, News First 5, Jessica Roe introduces us to a self-proclaimed hoarder, a man facing numerous zoning violations in Colorado Springs. We have multiple views in this story tonight.
Thank God that's not me. But then you look around here, I look around here and say, gee, what am I going to do?
Unless you slowed down enough to see the site while driving by.
By my count, the place should be condemned.
Or have the view from above that economist Fred Crowley has, you might not know that Tom Taylor's $750,000 property is littered with, well, stuff, pieces and parts of his hobby of building and maintaining koi ponds.
They'll grow up to 36 inches.
The same koi ponds now that looked like this many, many years ago. Now in a much different state, with 8 complaints against Taylor, charges of improper accumulation of storage, a $2,000 potential fine.
I've shown that I'm very good at the collecting side, and I have made several not very successful attempts at the disposing side.
Yes, a collection, but still classified as hoarding, something rarely talked about, but now front and center with avid followers of shows like A&E's Hoarders.
It's interesting. It's the fact that it's a collection, trash or rubbish.
One of Taylor's obsessions he compares to going to a bar, but alcohol, that's not his vice. Instead, it's thrift store shopping and the adrenaline rush of finding the next great bargain. The house next door with million-dollar views, well, some may say it is a bargain at $650,000, but it's been so much of a challenge to sell with a direct view of Taylor's clutter that the sign may still be up, but the house is off the market.
The people that showed the house, same thing. Obviously, the junk next door, in most of their comments were, you know, it's an issue, it's a big issue.
Taylor's family trust purchased the property so long ago, he's not even subject to homeowners' covenants, just required to meet city code.
All of us in this community are bearing the costs of this very messy environment down there.
I'm moving forward in the direction I can, as fast as I can, but it's still a challenge to look the way they should.
He has seen mental health experts.
When my diagnosis was changed from adult ADD to OCD, or obsessive compulsive with hoarding tendencies, I was introduced to a very prominent and successful therapist. But at $120 an hour, that gets pretty expensive.
It becomes a real battle because they're very afraid to let go. They're overwhelmed by it. There's a lot of shame. But it's just a very, very difficult process to engage change in.
Taylor's goal, a long-term solution, but in the short term, he has just a few weeks to get the place cleaned up or face a fine of $2,000. Taylor knows he has no choice but to change his ways.
I'm looking to start a whole new life to come the first of the year. So.
In Colorado Springs, Jessica Roe, News First 5.
Every branch of the armed services are special.
and every branch plus a full 100 entrants represented at this parade. Mike Battle, a Vietnam veteran draftee, scored a prime seat right next to the grandstands.
Well, the more support, the better it feels, because, you know, people are out supporting the troops.
Now, Armistice Day became an official national holiday in 1938. The name was changed to Veterans Day in 1954 to honor all Americans who have answered our nation's call over the years.
Even those answering the call of crowd control have in their heart a connection.
It's an emotional day because of what's going on in the world today and of all of the bases that support Colorado Springs.
The Veterans Day Parade here in Colorado Springs is so large that it takes $35,000 in donations each year to put the event on.
You know what? You can't do enough to support the military.
It means a lot to the veterans to know that people appreciate what they've done for them.
These guys, veterans, active, you know, they're all great. They've sacrificed a great amount for our country and for my ability to stand here and support them, so.
Colorado's kind of wacky.
It has been uncharacteristically warm.
We have been warmer than average.
If not for the dust-colored grass and the bare-boned trees, this might look like a Cheyenne Mountain snapshot of summer.
A La Nina is developing right off the coast of South America. That means the sea surface temperatures are colder than average. That has worldwide weather impact.
Impacting you so much that, yes, we'd bet you might just be watching this broadcast in shorts and a t-shirt.
We haven't set a lot of records. It's just one of those mild falls so far.
The calendar may read November, but with La Nina on the horizon.
A little warmer than average over the lower elevations, just about average precipitation. And here's the great news. The mountains usually get over 100% of their average annual precipitation. That's what I'd look for this year.
But until that H2O makes its way into your neighborhood, we're talking brown and lots of it. Whether it's your front yard sod, your backyard garden, or the trees and shrubs around the perimeters of your home, given the change in weather patterns, lawn care experts say now is the time to get outside and make a difference while you can.
So you play roulette. It's a Russian roulette with your lawn.
Choose not to water it and risk something called winter kill of your sod.
Once a week, probably all it takes right now to get some water on the lawns.
And as for those things that grow up towards the sky,
for shrubs and trees, we would want to probably water about 45 minutes in the drip zone. Give it a nice big thorough drink.
Yes, something to add to the honey-do list now to make sure your foliage springs back in just a few months.
This looks like a fall and a winter when you're going to be watering some.
It's so much nicer to do it in shorts than it is in a big winter parka.
In Colorado Springs, Jessica Roe, News First 5.
Here come the legends of Vegas. We're ready for a race.
What happens in Manitou gets around town in about 5 minutes.
From Vegas to Rostaland.
We have the Young Bloods.
And from a stray Willy Wonka munchkin and a cupcakery coffin to a real-life funeral parlor, businesses and groups from around the region paid their respects to the legendary Emma Crawford.
Emma's a person who died of tuberculosis.
I really have no idea.
It's happened before.
And wanted to climb Red Hill behind us, and she made it up 2 weeks before she died.
Who do you think Emma is? Who's Emma?
Lady in the coffin.
So what is the real story behind Emma Crawford and these coffin races? Or is it just a tall tale that grows with every year and every generation? Or does it really matter? This is, after all, what put Manitou Springs on the map.
Come on! Come on!
A huge crowd gathered to honor the late Miss Crawford, paying their respects by designing the most creative coffin.
Here is the Pike.
And then, yes, racing that pine box up the hill. 16 years into the competition, most in the crowd would argue it's not about the competition itself, but instead about the best entourage. In Manitou Springs, Jessica Roe, News First 5. Care and Share is Southern Colorado's largest food distribution shelter center, and it serves 31 counties in Southern Colorado. I want to give you a number here. It's really interesting. 95%, 95 cents on every dollar. That is how much goes back to the running of the programs and distributing food here from this program. It's a phenomenal percentage for a nonprofit organization, so keep that in mind. If this death is ruled a homicide, it would be the 18th in Colorado Springs this year. So far, however, they are not calling it a homicide, a murder, or anything otherwise. This all started at the Delmonico Place condominium complex on the northwest part of town. Midday today, they roped off the entire area with crime scene tape, but they allowed residents to stay on site, and they confirmed no one here is in any type of danger. Police arrived this morning just around 10 a.m., but that was the second call, with other residents complaining of loud music coming from a ground level unit. You see, last night, just 12 hours earlier, they had been here for the same type of complaint, but the condo manager said he would handle it at the time, and that was just fine with officers.
News First 5's Jessica Roe is live at the Western Museum of Mining and Industry in Colorado Springs, where organizers claim to have the best haunted house around. What do you think, Jessica?
I am pretty impressed. They have pulled out the stops, turned on some effects here behind me for this live shot this morning. It is getting a little spooky, and it doesn't even really kick off until the dusk settles in later on this evening. So, about 10 hours from now, we are going to see about 400 people pull into the apple orchards, park their cars, get out, pay their $15 to get in, or $20 if you want VIP move to the front of the line privileges. They recommend that folks who come here to this haunted house be at least 13 years or older, because it is scary. Behind me, you will go through, literally some shafts and be moved around in things. This is not my word, this is their word, the hell-elevator. So quite scary. There are things to do at the actual museum for littler kids during the day, but this opens Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays at 7 p.m. nightly. However, the week of the 22nd, it is open every night, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Again, admission is $15 for the average individual adult, $20 for VIP. You can find more information at WMMI.org. Again, WMMI.org. However, later today, we will have details on newsfirst5.com and full story with some spooky pictures from inside the house itself. So please consider bringing your folks out here, as long as you are not claustrophobic. You would not want to be here if you have any claustrophobia issues.
No, it looks creepy. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.